Good Tuesday evening. Welcome to BCP Live. Hi, I'm Joey McWilliams. I am glad that you are with me tonight, and I hope that I stay on the air. That's the main thing tonight, is to actually stay on the air, and we'll see if it happens. I believe it's going to. Anyway, I have missed you all, and I hope that you've missed at least a little bit of time with me. So I do want to go. We are now into 90 plus episodes. I think this is the 92nd episode that we have had of BCP Live. So I really am thankful, getting a few texts along the way and getting some eyeballs to show up there on the screen as well. So a few people are tuning in tonight, and that's really cool. Teresa, glad to see your name come up there, and Jamie, good to see your name come up there as well. And I've only seen, I'm seeing a few angry faces come up. That's okay. That's all right. I know. It's all right. Mrs. Patriot says I have to have thicker skin than that anyway, because some little angry faces are going to show up every now and again. And, I don't know. Anyway, where have I been? Man, I have been off the air. We have not had quality internet. We're working on that. And I think that we actually do have a pretty good internet signal tonight. I do want to say thanks to Mike Holmes, who has been helping me quite a bit. He is a friend of mine and a friend of mine for a long time. I've enjoyed getting to work with him in various capacities over the years, and he has been just kind of looking over what's going on and seeing what's happening around here with the internet, trying to put me in a better position. And I really, really appreciate that. So I want to give a shout out to Mike and say thank you very much. Now, I do want to also say this. It's a work in progress. So we'll see how it all goes about tonight and just go from there. Mrs. Patriot is watching tonight. That is really cool. Portia, nice to see your name come up there. Linda, good to see your name come up there as well. Jace is watching, and I appreciate that. Always appreciate getting to see Jace on there. And Mrs. Patriot, if the wife and any of the children are ever watching, and they don't have to because they hear me all the time. So, that's always a big deal. Rhonda, it's nice to see you. Hi, and welcome back. We're going to try to keep this going through the next couple of weeks here, and we'll see how all the internet works out and go from there. All right. I want to say thank you right now because I knew tonight's a little bit of a test. We're testing some different things. We're not going to go on too long tonight. We're going to test this and see how everything looks and how it all goes. So I know you all will let me know if the whole thing just completely falls apart and goes off the rails in 4 different directions. I do want to say thank you to sponsors for the Bryan County Patriot. The Patriot is growing. The online website is growing. Our numbers continue to get bigger, and each month in 2020 has proven to be a bigger month than what it was in 2019. And so I'm thankful to all of you for checking out what's online. And we do have, a variety of things. We do obituaries for free as a community service and a lot of other things. And we can do that because we have great advertisers and sponsors like All Seasons Travel. I'm telling you what, Shelly and all the girls down there do a great, great job. They have always taken care of my daughter when she's traveling and the rest of us. So we're very, very thankful for that. Dottie, good to see your name come up there as well. Hi to you tonight. Bryan Agri Products, Choctaw Nation Foster Care, Firehouse Subs. Got to see Quentin today. Folks at Firehouse Subs, man, I'm telling you what, that is some good, good food. You need to stop by there. Check that out. Hausner's, as well as Justice Insurance, Prices Printing, Taco Casa. Hi, Blake. Hope you're doing well. Van Meter Realty, The Country Framer, Blake Utter Ford, Choctaw Nation, Abundant Life Texoma, Durant Station, Greg Phillips Insurance, Indian Nation Wholesale, Jalapenos, People First Industries, Texoma Financial Services, and Texoma Utility Equipment. So, comment feed isn't working. Can't see anyone else's comment. Sorry about that, Rhonda. Don't know what the deal is there, but I'll check it out, see if I find out anything else. At least the video and the audio is sounding good. That's what Mike says. So we're going to go with that. Amy, good to see your name come up there, and Paula as well. No drinking game tonight. It's just time for, water. It's funny, too, because I haven't been talking that much since, I don't know what, Thursday of last week. I know my family would beg to differ, but that's okay. That is all right. All right. Really quickly, man, I don't want to talk about the beer bug that much. and I find it interesting, just in case you're watching and you haven't watched before, we try not to use the other terms for the situation with which our country is dealing right now and the situation in which we find ourselves in, because I can generally stay live on Facebook. But if I use certain terminology, the YouTube algorithm takes a dim view of that. I know we haven't talked about this in a while, but just so you'll know that there are times that it will not promote the videos I have. And so for the most part, I think that it's out there on YouTube. I don't think I'm automatically getting kicked off of YouTube when I use certain words, but I try to avoid those words. And so I will say the beer bug as opposed to another terminology. So anyway, Butch, good to see your name coming up there as well. Joe, man, nice to see your name as well tonight. Bryan, I'll tell you what, let's get to that because that is a good point, and I know what you're talking about. So we'll close with that. All right, help me remember. We will close with that. If you see Bryan's comment coming up there talking about CPR, and we will wrap up with that a little bit later on. Anyway, numbers are going up statewide. What you are not seeing numbers go up in is in the death toll. Now, granted, there have been a few each day. There have been a couple of days where there haven't been any deaths that have been attributed to the beer bug at all. But there have been a few within the state of Oklahoma. You may have noticed a release on the Bryan County Patriot a little bit earlier today, as one of the representatives from the state of Oklahoma is urging Governor Stitt to make masks a mandatory thing in public spaces and private businesses. And so that is out there. It is Jason Lowe, I believe, is his name. And so you may want to check that out. It is a release directly from the Oklahoma House of Representatives, specifically the Democratic Caucus. And so that is out there. We don't know if this is going to happen or not, but it could be something, so you need to be prepared. If you do not have a mask already, I would encourage you to get one. I do have one. Each of the members of my family, well, we have the gaiters. I don't know that we have the mask. We have the little, looks like a little sleeve that you pull over your head. And so that's easy for me to work with. It's not something that I use all the time, but in certain businesses where that's requested, obviously I want to honor that in the business in which I'm entering. I went into one a little bit earlier this evening, actually into a restaurant in town. Went to Pizza Hut, got some pizza for the family tonight, and that was something that was suggested. Actually, it was mandated on the door when you go in. So if you're going to Pizza Hut right now in Durant, you go in. You wear the mask when you're seated at your table. You could take the mask off. That's fine. I was getting my pizza to go, so it was really no big deal. I sat at my table for a little bit and watched an episode of Star Trek Deep Space Nine. So go Netflix. Anyway, that is something that could be happening. It could be on the horizon. That is, but I would still say, according to the numbers that we are seeing in the state of Oklahoma, although today was the biggest day, wasn't quite 1,000 new positive cases reported, but it was in the 900s. So be prepared for that. Already talked about the advertisers. I wanted to speak really quickly tonight about one thing. Hey, Brent, good to see your name coming up there. We're living in weird times, and many of you probably have heard the ancient saying from Confucius, or the curse that's been attributed to Confucius: may you live in interesting times. And that is a curse. Well, definitely that. I guess you could probably say that about the times that we're interesting, or that we're living in right now. It could be a curse. They're very interesting, and it seems like they get to be more and more interesting all the time. One of the 13-year-olds was saying, that she was watching something on the internet and talking about a meme that's out there that if 2020 were a reality TV show, or if it was some kind of TV show, that there are so many weird things out there that are almost implausible, but there's a plot hole. Okay, murder hornets. We heard about murder hornets. When's the last time you heard about murder hornets? It's a plot hole. We haven't talked about that in a while. Why did you even introduce it if it's not going to play a part in the show? Which is interesting, but it goes back to one of the things we've talked about here, and I wanted to bring this to your attention tonight. So one of the two things I wanted to bring to your attention tonight is this. It is still happening. We are being fed information here. You need to look here. Here's what you need to be looking at today. Look at this, and whatever this is. And it changes, sometimes daily, sometimes it changes every other day. But it is out there, and the national media is doing everything it can to keep our focus on this today, and this maybe for 2 days, and then the next day, here's this. Look at this. Look at this. My suggestion to you is that there is something over here that we're not supposed to be looking at. Am I telling you what that is? I don't know. I have some suspicions of what I think a couple of things may be. I don't really want to go into suspicions tonight, but I just wanted to remind you that we are being directed. Our view is being directed in a certain way. Make no mistake about that. Okay? You just need to keep that in mind. The other thing is this. The acronym SJW, okay, that stands for Social Justice Warrior. I think lots of times I've heard it used on 2 or 3 different YouTube channels, Social Justice Weirdos, and I think that it applies in most cases. Not all, not all. If you feel like you are an SJW, if you're a social justice warrior and you don't feel like you're a social justice weirdo, then good for you. That's great. I do think it applies in many, many cases. What I want to submit to you tonight is this, and if bear with me, we're testing internet, we're getting back on the air, and I just wanted to share some things that are on my heart. So bear with me in this. It's not going to be a long show tonight. We want to get through it and see how everything goes. Here's the thing about the SJW movement, okay? It demands you to change. Let me say that again. It wants, that's not right. It demands you to change. It demands you to give up what you were doing and really, in some instances, bend your knee, bow to the great wisdom of the social justice, and change what you're doing. And in essence, in many cases, you have to admit and you have to apologize for your way of thinking, and you have to stop doing what you're doing and do what the social justice warrior wants you to do. Okay. I lost viewers for saying that. It's all right. I'm going to keep saying it. Here's the issue, though, with that. It will never be enough. There will never come a time when you have given up enough. Let me say that again. There will never come a time when you have given up enough, because once you bend your knee to this, you're going to have to bend the knee elsewhere to something else. And then you're going to have to bend your knee elsewhere to something else. And then you're going to have to bend your knee elsewhere to something else. It's never going to be enough. So recently, we have seen in our country the pulling down of statues, and statues for many and various people that some of those folks were probably not very good folks. I'm not going to say one way or the other on those. Some of the things, people just got caught up in the movement, I believe. Well, this person had a flaw and this person had a flaw. Why did we do a statue for this person? This person had a flaw. And I would suggest to you at this point, let the person who was without sin among you cast the first stone or pull down the first statue. Let the one of you who is without sin pull down that first statue. But we've seen it. Many, many statues have come down. We haven't seen the one in Bryan County at the courthouse come down yet, and I think there are probably some good things in that. Oh, by the way, City Council today, I believe, recognized Yi from Asian Gourmet. That was on the agenda anyway, was to recognize him for what he's done. Congratulations to the Asian Gourmet and all the folks out there at work and that work there, and and all of his team. Congratulations to that. We want to get more information out about that too, but I think that is incredibly cool, and I commend him. I commend all the people who've been working with him and all the volunteers who have been a part of helping so many different individuals, senior citizens, um, first responders, the hospital. These folks have given so much food, so much time, so much effort, and I commend them so much for what they've done. So congratulations to Uyi and his people. Now, I think that there will be something. It looks like there's something on the agenda as to whether or not, or what the ultimate fate of the statue at the Bryan County Courthouse will be. I'm just telling you now, there have been many statues that have been pulled down. But what's next? There's going to come a time where there aren't any statues left. So what's next? Okay. The Washington Redskins are changing their name, the NFL team. I don't know how you feel about that. One way or the other, it's okay. That was next on the list. I have had an article come up in my feed yesterday, and I submit to you that that's the next thing. It's not enough now. And this is actually what it said in an article in Time magazine online. Statues, that was great, but it's not enough. Let's change the names. Town names are coming next. Why in the world should we have a town named for a person who has a flaw? Why should, and granted, some people's flaws are bigger. Look, I've said, let the one who among you is without sin cast the first stone. We're all sinful, although some people, I'm sure, pile up a few more sins than others. Still sin. And apart from Jesus, it's still going to keep you away from a loving God. Sin is sin. But some people have piled up a lot more sins. Some people's sins are a lot more visible and a lot more difficult to deal with. So I get that. And there are some people who don't need statues. And some people who may not even need towns named after them. But I'm telling you, that's coming. Texas Rangers, by the way. Texas Rangers have been hit up about changing their name. And you know who one of the first persons to put an article about that, by the way, Bryan, online? Somebody from the Chicago Tribune. Now, can I pause for just a moment here really quickly and just tell you what I think? Like I haven't been telling you what I think anyway. I'm going to pause for just a moment, just long enough to say, I don't need anybody from Chicago telling me how to name the Texas Rangers. Stay in your lane. Get off my lawn. You don't tell us what to do down here. You don't like the name, that's fine. Tear down your own statues. Take care of your own people in Chicago. You've got enough problems up there on your own. Deal with the guns in your backyard and leave a baseball team in the state of Texas alone. Get off my lawn. Now, that's how I feel about the Texas Rangers change. And maybe there need to be some changes that are out there. I get that. I understand. But I don't need somebody from the Chicago Tribune telling me what the name of my team needs to be, especially when you got some issues of your own. So the next thing that's coming is the name changes of the towns. They're coming after your towns now. Just want to let you know. They're coming after your towns. So we ought to start looking at the town names. Should there be, Dixon Durant? Was he perfect? Don't know. What all the other names? Calera was named actually after a kale switch. I don't know all of that's going on. Let's look into it. And Caddo and Kennefic and some of the other places. Sorry, I'm just throwing that out there. What about Bryan County? I believe that Bryan County, I know it's the only county in the entire state that's named after William Jennings Bryan. I think it's the only county in the entire country that's named for William Jennings Bryan. By the way, Jenny, good to see your name coming up there. You missed my rant about the Texas Rangers. Sorry, you'll have to go back and listen to that. But, and I know, Jenny, that's why you tune in, is for the rants. William Jennings Bryan. They're probably coming for Bryan County sometime soon. But what could they do? Well, he has to be flawed. He has to be flawed. So what about William Jennings Bryan? Let's think. Well, he ran for president. Now, it's an election year right now, and William Jennings Bryan ran for president. I think, he lost. Oh, he lost twice. No. He lost 3 times. Did you know William Jennings Bryan lost 3 times as a candidate for president? It's kind of sad. We should probably feel sorry for him. I wonder if he got a participation ribbon. I don't know if they gave out participation ribbons back then. We should posthumously give William Jennings Bryan a participation ribbon because he tried. I mean, he was a candidate 3 times. He tried. Surely he made an effort. So we could do that, but that's not enough reason to change the name of the county. Okay, well, he was the Secretary of State when Woodrow Wilson was president. Now, no, that's not going to be enough because most of the people who are tearing down statues don't have a clue who Woodrow Wilson is. I would imagine he was a president, by the way. I realize a lot of them probably only know the presidents that are on money, like Franklin and Hamilton. But still, by the way, somebody's probably going to take that out of context. I know that Franklin and Hamilton weren't presidents, just so you know. But William Jennings Bryan was he was Secretary of State under Woodrow Wilson, and Woodrow Wilson really was an ist. He was a big ist. So, but they don't know that. They don't know who Woodrow Wilson was. So that's probably not good enough. What else could we do? He was a Democrat, and he was a populist kind of a guy too. I mean, he was really a man of the people. He was. Did you know, by the way, that William Jennings Bryan, Jenny says, I think Secretary of State was his participation ribbon. I'd like to give you this firm hand clasp and congratulate you for this honor. Let's see. Oh, I know. This'll do it. This will get William Jennings Bryan's name ripped off our county quicker than you can say, come here and sick them both. Okay? All right. Here we go. William Jennings Bryan participated in the Scopes trial. That's what he did. And he was on the side that was against evolution. That'll get it. You know what? I would imagine that William Jennings Bryan was the original science denier. There's a 2020 phrase for you. How about that? Do you know, by the way, that science changes all the time because our knowledge of the world around us, changes all the time? Did you know things that we thought back in 1925 when the Scopes trial was going on, we know a whole lot more 95 years later? Now, if you really believe, by the way, if you believe that the compilation of all of the knowledge that we have in the entire world in 2020 is the apex of everything that we're ever going to know, how ignorant are you? We're going to learn more between now and July of 2021. Yeah, Joe, Bryan County canceled. We're going to learn more between now and 2021. Did you know that? Did you know that, CNN? When you posted in May that hydroxychloroquine didn't work, but posted in July that it did? Did you know that CDC and World Health Organization in April when you said masks didn't work very well, but now you're mandating that we wear them? Did you know that things change? Really the only thing that hasn't changed through all this is the Bible. I know, can't talk about that because if you mention the Bible, then you're a science denier. William Jennings Bryan, by the way, if you're not familiar with the Scopes trial, had to do with this. And you have to go back just a little bit, and it has to do actually with what was called the Butler Act in Tennessee. Go Vols. The Butler Act in Tennessee. And back in 1922, or back actually a little bit farther than that, but in 1922, William Jennings Bryan began a campaign to ban the teaching of evolution. I know. We've thought that evolution was just something back that we talked about in the 70s or the 80s or the 90s. It's what we call a recency bias, when we think that only the things that we know about are the things that are important. Only the things which we've lived through and seen with our own eyes are the things that are important. It's how somebody can actually say that LeBron James is a better basketball player than Michael Jordan. But I digress. Anyway, the thing about it is the Butler Act was put into play in 1924 in the state of Tennessee. They passed this. The governor of Tennessee signed it. Actually, I think it was in January of 25. So the Butler Act came into play that said you couldn't teach evolution in the schools. Well, word got to the ACLU that this had taken place in Tennessee. So the ACLU was saying, look, this is something we need to get involved with. They were going to finance some kind of lawsuit that would go into it, but they had to get the right people. Well, there was this town in Tennessee called Dayton, and a bunch of folks in Dayton got together and said, hey, let's put this town on the map. So they did. So they went to the school. They found a teacher named John Scopes, who was not really teaching science as much. He was teaching some other things, but he did sub in science, and he read a passage about evolution in his class. Well, he wasn't supposed to do this. Now, everybody in the town was in on it, so they knew he'd done it. They set the thing up. He said, I'll do it. He read about it, and whoa, lo and behold, there was a warrant out for his arrest. He was arrested for teaching evolution in the school. He had to be brought to trial. Now, knowing this was going to be something that was a big deal, I mean, a big deal, both sides brought in some big guns. The folks who were for the Butler Act and for the law brought in William Jennings Bryan. You know, this guy we've been talking about over the course of the night. The folks who were on the ACLU side and the evolution side brought in Clarence Darrow. These were some big guns, 95 years ago, and they went at it. Now, Darrow, I believe, really wanted to test the constitutionality of the law, but his defendant and his client was on trial as to whether or not he'd actually broken the law, because that was the charge. So he really had to defend it, but he got more things in there than more than just had his client, Mr. Scopes, broken the law. Same thing with Bryan. Bryan really wanted to defend the fact that evolution was not something that was a real thing, that what the Bible said was true, but his purpose was to prosecute the fact that Scopes had disobeyed the law. Both of them went at one another. Many, many great statements for both sides were made. Ultimately, however, it came down to the fact that Darrow had given his closing remarks. The judge didn't even allow William Jennings Bryan's closing remarks, which I believe took a toll on his health. He was already a little bit older, and he died 5 days later. But he won the trial. Scopes actually was convicted and forced to pay $100. Now, by the way, on a side note, this was appealed. It went to a higher court. The higher court said $100 is way too much to charge anyone. And so that was overturned. He didn't have to pay. The whole thing was canceled out. But William Jennings Bryan in all of this said, no. Evolution should not be taught in the schools. You know what they'd call Jennings Bryan today? A science denier. Are you kidding me? Evolution is real, has to be real. Darrow even went at him saying, do you literally believe everything that's in the Bible? Do you believe everything it says? And Bryan said, yes, he did. Darrow said, you believe this could have happened and this could have happened. He even went to the point where it talked about that Joshua raised his hands and the Lord had the earth stand still. For 24 hours, the earth stood still. And Darrow went at Bryan saying, there's no way that could happen. Do you know what would happen if the earth would stand still? We'd all go flying off and the earth would become a molten ball of goo and everything would go wrong. And Bryan was like, look, the God who can make the universe could take care of this if he held the earth still. The point is this, Darrow went at him. Bryan held his ground. But Bryan is a science denier. Because, you know, in 1925, they had all the knowledge about the science that we're ever going to learn. ever, ever, ever. We can never know more than what we knew in 1925, except 95 years later, we kind of know more than what we knew in 1925. I submit to you, again, we'll know more in 2021 than we did in 2020. And yet, if we say certain things today, you're labeled a science denier. So that's where they'll get Bryan County. That's where they'll cancel Bryan County. We'll take William Jennings Bryan's name off the list. He doesn't need to be there. He's a science denier. And that's that. So my point in all that is this. And if you're still watching, thank you. If you're still watching, it's never going to be enough for these guys. It's never going to be enough. They'll go for the statues. They'll go for the names of the towns. They'll go for the names of the counties. They'll go for some of your names too. It's never going to be enough. At some point in time, we have to say, enough is enough. Put a stop to it. Nick, good to see your name come up tonight. Sean, Richard, if anyone's still watching, thank you guys for watching tonight. I know I have one monitor that says I kind of went off the air for a little bit, so hope I'm still on. Mike, I'm still on the air, so let me know. I'm guessing 25 of us are here. Praise God for that. I know it's a revolving door, so I appreciate the fact that you all have stayed. Please understand, I really believe that's right. Michelle took the words right out of my mouth. I really believe it's right. We have to stand for something. Bryan Cooper was on a little bit earlier tonight, and let me get his comment because he put this up here a little bit earlier. I don't know if you know that Bryan is in Caddo, but he works in the Colgate EMS and works a little north of Bryan County. Here, I found the comment here. Let me put this up here. Personal request, a public service announcement, learn CPR, lives of loved ones may depend on it one day. And I know that he had to deal with an issue today. Don't want to go into all the details. I know that the information will come out probably within the next 24 hours. I'm not going to break that news here on BCP Live, but know that you need to know CPR. And we all need to know CPR, and someone who's close to you, their life may depend on it someday. So if you haven't already had the class, take the class. I need to take that class again. I need to look into it a little bit more. And so definitely we need to do that. Jamie, good to see your name come up there as well tonight. All right. History lesson. Yes, Dottie, we had a history lesson. Did you know that I used to teach American history? Did you know, by the way, that I used to teach world history as well? Taught a government class when I was at Victory Life, taught a civics class. I think that was the same class that I taught right there. I think history is important. If we do not learn from it, we will repeat a lot of it. Lisa, Jesus Christ, the same yesterday, today, and forever. And we're all going to be, we all have our flaws. And that's just, it is what it is. Look, I'll not be tearing down statues. If what I said is true, and let the one of us who's without sin tear down the first statue. I'm not going to be tearing down statues anytime soon. I'm not. And you know what? It's probably, I don't know how to say this. I think I said it earlier. Some people's flaws are more visible than others, but we all deal with flaws. Did I say that right? I hope I said that right. Some people's flaws are more visible than others. And when people's flaws are more visible, it's easier to point the finger at somebody else and say, but look at her, but look at him. He did that. She did that. What I'm doing is not as bad as that. The simple fact of the matter is we all need a savior. Okay. We all need to know Jesus. And when the time comes, I want to be able to say, no, yeah, that's right. I mean, Satan can throw at me, yeah, but you're flawed here and you made this mistake. You made this mistake here. Yes. But you know what? My sins are covered by the blood of Jesus, and I can come boldly before the throne of grace to find grace to help in time of need. All right. So I appreciate you all. Went a little longer than I thought I would tonight, but that's okay. We got a good history lesson out of it, I believe. Hope you learned something. Remember, it's never, ever, 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 ever going to be enough for the social justice weirdos. And there, I said it. It will never, ever be enough. The time will come when we're going to have to say enough is enough. Look, be wise in what you're doing. Episode number 92. We're closing in on triple digits. How about that? Episode number 92 tonight. So be wise in all that you're doing. Use discretion. There are going to be decisions that you're the only one that has the opportunity and the authority to make a decision. Make the wise one. Use that discretion. By the way, it's all right sometimes to just be discreet. Did you know that? Did you know that love covers a multitude of sins? Just your love sometimes in not airing out somebody's dirty laundry, in not telling something that somebody did just because you know it. Well, it was true. Doesn't mean you have to tell everything you know all the time. Sometimes being discreet, discretion is the better part of valor. And finally, do not walk in fear. Don't do it. Don't do it. More and more numbers are going to get higher. We're crossing 20,000 positive cases in the state of Oklahoma. I know that's nowhere near the numbers in other states, but hey, it is what it is. All of us are winding up coming in contact with this thing, it seems like, in one way or another. Don't walk in fear. Do the best you can to stay away. Do the best you can to respect the people and the businesses around you. Okay. Can I say that again? I'm not a fan of the masks. Okay. I'm not a fan of the masks, but I will honor the businesses who ask me to wear them. And I will honor and respect the people. If I felt like, if I visited your home and you were uncomfortable with me coming over, unless I wore a mask, I would totally wear a mask to honor you and to respect you. Even if I didn't think it meant anything in the world, but to just be respectful, I want to do that. So, there's going to be a time we just need to be respectful every now and again. But we all know science changes. Excuse me. Our knowledge of science changes, and it changes all the time. We're going to know a lot more in 2020 than we do right now. I submit to you this too, and I'll get off the air with this one. On November 4th, this virus that we're dealing with, it's going to mean a whole lot less, and it doesn't matter which side wins. Yeah, it's going to mean a lot less. Thank you, Teresa. God bless you. Thank you for watching tonight. Jamie Templeton, thank you very much. Maddie, thanks for watching. Dottie, that is the way to do it. Just smile. Makes them wonder what you know. That's right. We walk boldly, the armor of God. God bless you all. Thanks for watching tonight. Have a great night. And I think our internet did well, so we're set for another night. Do it again tomorrow at 9. Talk to you later.